Alright, I am back with another Destiny 2 video. I've been making more Destiny 2 stuff lately in episodes Heresy here. I have really been having a good time this episode. I know that we can debate the effectiveness of all the episodes so far, but I have really enjoyed both Nether and now Court of Blades, in addition to what I think have been at least somewhat interesting story beats. I'm still debating in my head whether I think they should have left Eris dead or not, but you can talk about that another day. I wanted to focus mainly on Court of Blades today and how this has ended up becoming one of my favorite activities in quite a while. There's a number of things I like about it, a number of things that can probably use work, but I think they've done a really good job here in a lot of ways. Footage I'm playing here is on my Titan with Barrow Peacekeeper, where you can just do a ton of damage with that. I also have a glaive and sword on because I'm doing the catalyst quest where you need a glaive or a sword or a shotgun on. So that's not terrible. Swords and expert are not ideal unless you're doing like a full stronghold thing, but whatever. We get the job done. A lot of good things here. So sometimes with expert modes, it can be kind of annoying to matchmake, but here Fire Team Finder is like pretty much instant matchmaking. It's kind of all you could really want in that regard, and it doesn't really matter if your team is like top tier. There is no ultimate fail state in this. It's pretty much, the worst thing that can happen is you don't kill enough guys, and therefore you don't get as much loot at the end, but like you're still always going to get to the end. You can still do your tome. You can still get some amount of stuff from the chest there. You might not get, ascendant drops or whatever. I think you're probably more likely to get adept drops the higher you go, but not getting platinum is not like the end of the world, as you can still get a good amount of stuff there. It is hard to consistently get platinum on expert with just total randoms, but because of the nature of this, again, unlike Nether expert where there is a fail state and one person can really sink the whole thing for you if they just die a lot because you run out of revives, that is not true here, and as such I think that's a good baseline for an activity. I've really enjoyed the length of it. Nether, people have gotten Nether significantly down from what it was, but it's still a longer, kind of slower experience as you walk between all the zones and all this stuff, whereas this is like fight, and it's a slaying out arena, as they say, but it's actually, that sounds kind of cheesy, but in practice it's actually very fun. And, it's not like a GM level challenge, but at a certain point it can become pretty challenging in later tiers, and certainly doing it as fast as you need to in order to get platinum is going to be somewhat challenging depending on your team. And I think this is just a really good area of like trying out builds. A lot of them, is boss bursting is certainly the most important thing here, but it's really like a special ammo, heavy ammo thing, because like if you sit around plinking things with primaries, like you're not, other than Pharaoh, but it's not really gonna work the old timer the way you want it to. The different augments are mostly okay. There are some like significantly annoying ones that are kind of even worse on expert. There's a lot of these, and they change pretty frequently based on whatever new type of enemy is up that given day. The worst one, I think, by far is this rune matching one, where you can only damage an enemy if you are standing on the correct rune, which, fine, sure, normally, except in this case you have a lot of cover for enemies to run around, and also you will be pretty far away, and you cannot use any close range weapons, or you can't even like do, say, a Thunder Crash super, because if you launch off the rune, you're no longer on the rune, and they will become immune again. So enemies can hide behind cover in the arena. This week, they're the invisible knights that just sort of like turn invisible, so you're just like standing around doing nothing until they come back, or they just pop up in your face and one-shot you. That's not a very good one. Also, it doesn't take their shield away when you stand on there, so they're still shielded no matter what you do, which I don't love. The other one people kind of hate is Bound. I don't think it's that bad. I think that one's actually okay. On later stages, if they make you stand in this little tiny circle, it's kind of easier to get obliterated, but once you kind of know what to do in that one, I think it's fine. Some of these are just not the most clear. Like there's one in the Taken area which requires you to kill small blights, and then a guy spawns and he brings, he gives you a blight, and like people are like throwing it at the boss when like you have to throw it at the center blight and stuff like that. So it's not always clear what you're supposed to do, and just from the one sentence description that they give you when you look at the list, it's not great. One of my least favorite augments also is Sharpen. This is the one where you have to hack down their immunity shield using swords, and it's I don't think it's bugged, but like it can combine with other immunity effects in ways that are annoying. So like if you have two immunity effects at once, you might be able to like chip some of their shield down, but then not other parts of their shield down. And regardless, having people do sword attacks that are like not, you're not ready for this, you're not doing a stronghold build against bosses who will one-shot you if they stomp on you at later tiers here. Not very good, not a fun system. You can stand back and do more range shooting, but that takes long. Like, it's just not a very good setup for a system, and then it gets really, really complicated when combined with other immunity effects. Bosses can have immunity effects at baseline, which are, like 2 knights spawn, you have to kill them before the shield goes away, and then you have to do sharp. Like, it can get a little convoluted. That said, I think most of these are pretty good. Things can really escalate into being like insane. Like if you don't manage it, you're going to get a bunch of like Taken bound captains just swarming the arena, or Taken wizards, or all these different things that can kind of overwhelm you if you're really not keeping up with at least some amount of ad clear. Because if you're purely trying to burn the boss and you don't do it fast enough, like you can get overrun pretty easily. This just feels like a very fun, creative activity to me that scratches a lot of itches of being very short, not having a fail state that you're not going to sync it for your team, or other teammates aren't going to sync it for you. Having some interesting upgrades. I haven't really touched on the rune stuff. The rune stuff is fine. There are some neat ones in there, but also between rounds going back there and picking a rune every time, like I don't know, it adds a couple of minutes to the thing when I don't know. There's a couple pretty useful ones, but some of the time, like, you're just sort of wasting your time, or like it's not even worth the like, oh, this kill gives you this type of ammo, when like you're burning through these arenas so quickly, plus you get an ammo box in between it. These special weapons, like you can get a synaptic spear, I don't find those are worth taking over, doing your normal boss killing strategy. But yeah, so I really enjoyed finding different builds for this, and the farming I've talked about. The drops are not where they need to be. The end of match drops are, drops per minute are not close to where they are in Nether. Getting adepts is frustrating because they don't drop very often, and when they do, they're sort of, they're not giving you double perks and stuff. You can do your tome relatively quickly in there and get through some farming there, but it just doesn't really compare to Nether in terms of the total amount of loot you'll get. Even, Nether you can do, 20-25 minute runs now, whereas it's a 10-minute timer, but between the minutes in between, it's probably like 15 minutes. And it's, that part could use some work, but these weapons I've actually, I've wanted more copies of these than the other ones. The bow, the sidearm, the SMG, the glaive, and what's the fusion? I don't really care about the fusion, but the rest of those I'm trying to get good rolls on. Farmed for a while to get my sick dragonfly destabilizing roll, until I found out that you get that at rank 145 in the battle pass. So now I'm going to get an adept version of it, so screw you guys. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I think Nether was also pretty creative once they, once A, you get more powerful, and B, they fixed at least some of the healing issues where, it literally gave you essentially 0 healing in a build, where now they changed that at least a little bit. And then through time, upgrades made that pretty easy. Expert now is pretty easy, I would say. I do enjoy running Expert Nether too, which ironically I've discovered is the next quest step for this Barrow-Dyad Catalyst thing. So let me know your thoughts on Court of Blades in the comments. Next act, I think we're just getting the strike, and I guess, I don't know, more Catalyst, something. And we will see how long that lasts, and if Frontiers is actually going to arrive at the correct time past that, or if we're going to be waiting a very long time for it. I have a theory about that, which you may be able to guess, but I guess we'll see. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.